Politics Meet the Candidates, presented by the Dallas Examiner. I'm Molly Finch Belt, publisher of the Dallas Examiner. The Dallas Examiner has presented Monday Night Politics for over 12 consecutive years prior to elections. The Dallas Examiner does not endorse candidates. We seek to inform the community so that when they go to the polls, they are informed voters. All candidates who provide their email addresses on their applications when they file for office are invited to participate in Monday Night Politics. Monday Night Politics is not a debate, it's a forum designed to inform the community about the candidates' qualifications, their platform, etc. We could not present Monday Night Politics without our sponsors, who are nonprofit organizations, and they do not endorse either. In addition to Monday Night Politics, our website, www.dallasexaminer.com, has a section for voter education. Here you'll find current information about voting. Visit www.dallasexaminer.com. I would be remiss if I didn't mention two people who have worked with Monday Night Politics Meet the Candidates behind the scenes for over 12 years. The first person is Robin Jimenez, Vice President of Production and Editorial at the Dallas Examiner. The other person is Christy Thomas, Monday Night Politics Advisory Committee. We are happy tonight to have as our moderator Charles O'Neill. Charles is president of the Texas Association of African American Chambers of Commerce, and he was the first editor for the Dallas Examiner when the newspaper was founded by my father in 1986. Thank you for attending the forum tonight.
Good evening and welcome to this Valentine's Day edition of Monday Night Politics. This forum is brought to you by the Dallas Examiner newspaper for the 12th year because of the newspaper's commitment to the belief that an informed electorate will make the constituents that these candidates will serve are better informed, and therefore they'll make better decisions at the ballot box. Tonight we have a full slate of candidates for judicial races here in Dallas County. We'll start tonight with Dallas County Court at Law, number 1, the incumbent Judge Demetria Benson and challenger LaDouglas Johnson. So thank you both for being here tonight. We'll start with 2 minutes for opening statements. When we have talked to candidates for judicial races, we've asked them to include in their opening statements, if they will, kind of a description, because down ballot races, as you know, folk are kind of confused and they're looking for a name they're familiar with. So kind of describe what it is that your court specifically focuses on, and then your opening statement. Okay? And we'll start with Judge Benson.
Good evening. I'm Judge Demetria Benson. I'm the judge of County Court at Law number 1 here in Dallas County. Now, county courts at law are courts of record. What that means is that we have court reporters, and the cases that are heard will have documentation of what happened, and that can be appealed to the Court of Appeals. County courts hear cases involving evictions, debt collection, and just about any kind of civil case you can imagine involving a dispute over money. What we do not hear are cases involving family law, juvenile issues, probate law, or criminal law. So that's just a little bit of an introduction about what county courts at law do. Dallas County is unique in that we have 5 county courts at law that are considered super courts. So what is a super court? A super court is a county court at law that has the same kind of jurisdiction that a district court, a civil district court, has. That means there are no limitations on the size of cases that we can hear. We can hear a $5 case on appeal from the JP Court, or we can hear a $10 billion or $20 billion case, depending on what the issue is. So, a little bit about myself. I was elected in 2006. I was part of the big Democratic sweep. I have been practicing or licensed to practice law for 38 years. I'm a graduate of TCU and the University of Texas School of Law. My parents were graduates of Prairie View A&M, and my father was in the Air Force, so that meant that we spent a lot of time living in lots of different places, which made me a citizen of the world. It gave me a perspective beyond that of someone who's always lived in the same space and location. And I think that makes for a better judge because it gives you a broader horizon and an understanding of people different than yourselves. And so I think that has helped me to be the judge that I am today. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much. Mr. Johnson.
Good evening. My name is LaDouglas Johnson, and my mission is to take Dallas County Court at Law #1 from worst to first. Talk a little bit about my background. Educated at Duke University, majored in economics, came to Dallas to go to law school at Southern Methodist University, and I've been a part of this community, an active part of this community ever since. I've been volunteering all over Dallas for the past 22 years. As a matter of fact, in 2016, I was awarded the Volunteer of the Year Award. In 2017, I was awarded the Social Justice Award. Part of my work in the community led me to be selected to serve on the City Planning Commission for the City of Dallas, which is my most recent service, in addition to the Zoning Ordinance and Advisory Committee for the City of Dallas. Now, I'm not going to beat around the bush about why I'm running for this race. In 2021, the Dallas Bar Judicial Evaluation Poll published its evaluation of the courts in Dallas County. And Dallas County Court at Law #1 came in dead last in every measure. Dead last in preparedness, dead last in issuing timely orders, dead last in proper judicial temperament, dead last in every single measure. Now, you may think to yourself that 2021 was some sort of fluke, but that's unfortunately not the case, because County Court at Law #1 came in dead last in 2019, 2017, 2015, 2013, 2011, 2009. As a matter of fact, every judicial bar poll on record, Dallas County Court at Law #1 has come in dead last on every single measure, every single evaluation. Dallas County can do much better, and that's why I need your help to take Dallas County Court at Law #1 from worst to first.
Mr. Johnson, you stay there for this first question. If you can expand on, and if we can, we'll focus your responses to what you will do as a judge in county court.
Yes, sir.
At one, okay?
Yes, sir. What I'm going to do is be the person I've been, and that's an organizer and a fixer and a hard worker. I can give you a specific list of things that we're going to do. We're going to answer the phone. I'm not going to hire and employ staff who don't answer the phone, who don't answer emails, who don't set things for hearing, who keep my court disorganized. I'm not going to cancel hearings without giving proper notice. I'm going to show up and do the job. If it requires me to answer the phones myself, I'm going to answer the phones myself. We're not going to have a court that refuses to give access to the people, because without access to the court, we don't have access to justice. And without access to justice, what purpose does the court serve? The purpose of the court is to deliver justice, and that's what I intend to do when I'm elected.
Thank you. Judge Benson, talk about your court and any responses that you may want to make to what you just heard.
Well, the first thing I want to say is that my opponent has never appeared in my court, and he's basing his entire campaign on hearsay. For those of you who don't know what hearsay is, it's gossip and rumor. And I think it's important that you have a judge that makes their decisions based on facts and law. And that's what I do in my court. We run an efficient docket, we answer the phones, we set hearings, we reset hearings when emergencies require it. For example, when we had the ice storm recently, we reset hearings so that citizens would not be put at risk coming to the courthouse, or if they did not have access to electricity and technology during the ice storm. We are dead center on dispositions of cases, which means that we're not the fastest, but we're not the slowest. And that's what you want in a judge. You want someone who's going to be measured and tempered and who actually looks at the cases and rules based on the law, not someone who is going to be motivated by making the right people happy. One of the things that I noticed when I first took the bench was that there were certain types of cases involving collections or evictions where individuals that were indigent or perhaps less well educated had been taken advantage of by attorneys. And unfortunately, the majority of those people that were being taken advantage of were people of color. And so what I have done during the time that I have been on the bench is to ensure that due process is followed. Now, what does that mean? It means notice and an opportunity to be heard. It's one of our basic premises of justice. And so I ensure that due process is followed and that procedural and substantive due process, which is how you get to the court, how you get through the court, and whether or not you've got a valid claim before the court, to make sure that all of that is properly evaluated and that cases are heard as they should be. Thank you.
One of the things, and we'll ask this question for you both as well, we talked in other forums with judicial candidates about the Texas legislature targeting, if you will, the way judges are desired to be found, or they're appointed, or they question the qualifications, that kind of thing. Have you formed an opinion about how the legislature addresses the appointment or the election of judges?
If I understand your question, you're asking how I feel about whether judges should be appointed or elected. Mm-hmm. And my thought on that is that it doesn't matter what you do, you can't take the politics out of the situation. Mm-hmm. I've met judges from all over the world. Some have been appointed, some have been elected, some are appointed and then they run a retention election. But the bottom line is you can't take the politics out. If the judge is appointed, then the appointment is made by whichever party is in power at the time that the appointment is made. If judges are elected, it gives the people the opportunity to choose judges that they think will most fairly represent them and to do the job that judges have been called to do, which is to be fair to everyone, regardless of whether or not they're wealthy, regardless of whether or not they can afford an attorney. And so my thought is that it's a difficult situation because we want judges that are high-quality judges, but we also want judges that the people can trust. And if we have judges that are appointed by a party in power, whichever party that may be, that will create a certain amount of distrust in the other party who's not got the opportunity to appoint judges. So I think elections is the fairest way to do that because it gives both parties or people that are affiliated with both parties an opportunity to select the judge that they think is most qualified to handle that seat.
Very good. Thank you so much. Mr. Johnson, your thoughts on this?
I'm absolutely committed to the way our Constitution has designed for our judges to be selected because I'm absolutely committed to judicial accountability. Do you think for one moment that this judge would be here tonight or I would be here tonight unless we were accountable to the people for the job that we're asking us to empower you to empower us to do? No. The way our system designs our judicial selection process puts the power where it belongs, and that is in the hands of the people. Now, what that does is it gives the people the opportunity to fire somebody when they're not doing a good job. If this was some sort of judicial retention policy, the people wouldn't have that power. I believe that the people are intelligent enough, the people are smart enough, and the people know when someone's doing a bad job. There are tools out there to evaluate our judges when they're doing a good job and they're doing a bad job. You can look these things up yourself. You can look up the Dallas Bar Judicial Evaluation Poll online. This information is available about every judge in Dallas County. The judges that are uncomfortable with it are the judges who are performing poorly. You can look at the top of the list, and you see we've got some stellar judges in this county. Like, for example, Judge Tanya Parker. Stellar judges in this county. We don't argue with those results. But when we see a judge who consistently, and I mean not just near the bottom, but when we see a judge who consistently comes in dead last in every single measure, in every single evaluation, then that's a job for the people to address. When you do a bad job, you get fired. It may not be the job for you. It's time to go on to your next opportunity. So I'm absolutely committed to electing our judges.
2 minutes for your closing statement.
All right. When I was first approached several years ago, actually, about running for this bench, I said no. Subsequently, I was approached again and again, and I refused again and again for different reasons, some personal and some, logistics. But a friend of mine came to me and spoke to me recently, about a year and a half ago, about this particular bench. And that person said something that stuck with me, and I'm going to share it with you. They said to me, the only thing, and you may have heard this before, but it hit me at the time, the only thing that injustice needs to succeed is for good people to do nothing. I tried to put it out of my mind. I couldn't. It resonated with me, and it caused me to think about doing this race and accepting this mantle and accepting this responsibility, because it's true. The only thing that injustice needs for its success is for good people to do nothing. Now, I know each and every one of you who is out there listening to this debate is a good person, because one, you're probably Democratic, and two, you're staying up watching something that is not on, national TV. This isn't the Super Bowl. You've got to be interested in your community to be watching this debate, and I applaud you for that. I applaud you for being responsible to make informed decisions about who leads Dallas County. So one of the things that I'm asking you good people to do is to not do nothing. I'm asking you to help me, to trust me, and to help bring Dallas County Court at Law number 1 from worst to first. We are stewards of Dallas County as Democrats. We can do better. We should do better. That's our responsibility as the people to elect judges to do a good job. Thank you for your time. I'm LaDouglas Johnson, and I ask for your vote.
Thank you, Mr. Johnson. And also, I'd like to, Judge Benson, your turn, but just underscore the fact that this is a forum, not a debate, and that we are, as best we can, and this will be for future sessions on this particular night, we want to, as best we can, focus on what you will do rather than what your opponent is or is not doing. Thank you.
I want to thank you all for this opportunity to talk with you and tell you why I should be reelected. I have been a faithful steward of the trust that has been given to me by the citizens of Dallas County. For 15 years, I have toiled and I have worked to ensure that due process is available for all citizens that come into my court. The first year that I was on the bench, because I was not following the business as usual protocol that certain attorneys, many of whom participate in the bar poll that my opponent is so adamant about, an attorney came to me and said, "Judge, this is the way the game is played. You give us our judgments, and if nobody shows up, no harm, no foul. If somebody shows up, then you rescind the judgment and we start from scratch." And I said to that attorney, because I think integrity is important, I think the trust of the public is essential, I said to that attorney, I cannot in good conscience sign a judgment that I know is not good. And that rattled a lot of cages. There were lots of attorneys that were used to coming down to the courthouse and getting judgments against people without proving that they were entitled to those judgments. I put a stop to that. The majority of people that suffered from that practice were people of color. The people that benefited from that practice were attorneys whose focus was on collecting debts and ousting people from their homes without regard to whether or not they had been given notice, an opportunity to be heard, whether or not the debts that they were seeking to enforce were valid. Being a judge is a grave responsibility. It means that you carry the responsibility and the weight, the gravitas of making decisions that affect people's lives. And if I'm going to be castigated for doing what's right, then so be it. But I hope that that's the kind of judge you would like to have. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Thank you again to our audience for listening to and learning from our candidates for Dallas County Court at Law, Mr. LaDouglas Johnson, the challenger, and incumbent Judge Demetria Benson. After a short break, we'll be back with you with candidates from Dallas County Court at Law number 3. Thank you.